My name is Betty, and I'm 16 years old now. When I think about everything that's happened, it's hard to believe how much my life has changed in just 3 years. I guess that's what happens when your whole world flips upside down, twice. It all began when I was 14. My parents got divorced, and my mom got to keep the house. Of course, I stayed with her. Dad agreed to pay a lot of money to support her. One time, I heard Mom talking on the phone, bragging that she finally got what she deserved. I kept asking her, "Why did you and Dad break up?" I must have asked 100 times during those first few months. But she'd just shake her head and say the same thing every time. "Your father made his choice, Betty. He doesn't want to be part of our lives anymore. He doesn't want to see you. It's better if you just accept that." But how was I supposed to accept something that didn't make sense? My dad used to call me his little scientist. He'd spend hours helping me with schoolwork. How could he suddenly stop being my dad? It hurt so much that sometimes I couldn't even breathe when I thought about it. Then one day I started getting emails. They came on every holiday, always right on time. The messages were simple, just a few kind words filled with love and encouragement. The first time I saw one, my heart skipped a beat. I just knew it had to be from my dad. Who else would say, "Keep reaching for the stars, sweetheart"? That's what he used to tell me every night before bed. I never told Mom about the emails. I couldn't. Just saying Dad's name made her face go cold, like she tasted something sour. After the divorce, Mom stopped working. She said she needed time to heal, but I wasn't fooled. The money from Dad was more than enough for us to live well. She spent her time changing the furniture, painting the walls, and going to yoga classes. She kept saying she was trying to find herself. Then one day, Eric showed up. Mom said she met him at yoga. Suddenly, everything in the house was about fresh starts and becoming a blended family. I could tell what was going on. Eric and his kids, Larry, who's 14, and Emily, who's 12, had moved in with us. That's when everything really changed. Mom became a totally different person. She treated Larry and Emily like they were made of glass, like they might break if she wasn't careful. She spent hours doing Emily's hair and cooking Larry's favorite foods. Meanwhile, I sat at the kitchen table feeling like I didn't even exist. One day, I couldn't hold it in anymore. "Mom," I said, "it's like you forgot I'm even here." She gave me a look I'd never seen before. It was part annoyed, part sorry. "Don't be selfish, Betty," she said. "Larry and Emily lost their mom when they were very little. They need more love and care. You're old enough to understand that." After that, Mom got really into taking family photos. Every weekend, she'd dress all of us up like we were going to a fancy event. She made sure our clothes matched perfectly. Larry and Emily always got new outfits for the pictures, while I had to wear whatever I had that fit the colors they were wearing. "Betty, stand behind Larry. No, move to the left. Try to smile more," she'd say, moving her phone to find the best angle. "Emily, sweetie, tilt your head a little." Perfect. These photo shoots would last for hours sometimes. Click after click, pose after pose, until Mom got the perfect shot to post online. But the worst part came later. At family get-togethers, she'd show the pictures to everyone. "Look how many likes this one got," she'd tell Aunt Ashley or Uncle Benjamin. "Don't we look like the perfect family? The kids look amazing together." You'd never guess they haven't always been siblings. I'd just stand there, feeling like I was acting in someone else's story. Mom made it sound like we were this happy blended family, but the truth was different. The pictures never showed how Emily rolled her eyes every time I walked into a room or how Larry acted like I wasn't even there. The hardest part wasn't the fake smiles or posing for hours. It was losing my connection with Grandma Margaret, my dad's mom. After the divorce, Mom said I couldn't visit her anymore. That broke my heart. I missed Grandma's warm hugs and how she'd sit and listen to me talk for hours, not like Mom, who just looked at her phone while I spoke. Now all I had were memories, baking cookies in her kitchen, laughing with her, and feeling loved. I was stuck with Mom's side of the family, and they completely believed her story about our perfect blended family. They acted like Larry and Emily were the greatest kids ever and praised Mom for being such a wonderful stepmom. Meanwhile, I just sat in the corner, wondering if I had turned invisible. As time went on, the gap between Mom and me got bigger and bigger. It was like we were living in three different worlds. Mom was all about her new family. Everything was planned around Larry and Emily, what they liked, what they wanted. Family movie night? Larry, what do you want to watch? Weekend plans? Emily, honey, where should we go for lunch? No one asked me anything. My opinion didn't count anymore. I just sat quietly while Mom smiled and leaned in close to hear what restaurant Emily wanted to try or what movie Larry wanted to see. Sometimes I'd open my mouth to say something, but Mom was already heading for the car, excited about Larry's superhero movie pick or Emily's favorite ice cream shop across town. One Thursday morning, they were all getting ready to go out again. I stayed in my room. No one came to check on me. No one asked if I wanted to come. Through the door, I heard Emily's voice say, "Good. Now we don't have to pretend to include her." Mom didn't say anything back. Just silence. That silence hurt more than words ever could. Then summer came. It used to be my favorite time of year when I was younger. But not this time. One evening, Mom and Eric called everyone into the living room. They looked super excited. "We have amazing news," Mom said, holding Eric's hand. "We're going on a month-long trip to Europe." Larry and Emily jumped up, cheering like they'd won the lottery. "Can we go to Rome?" Emily shouted. "I want to see the Eiffel Tower." "And Madrid," Larry added. "They have the best soccer stadium in the world." I sat on the couch watching them jump around with excitement. No one looked at me. No one asked if I was happy about the trip. I felt like I was watching a show about a happy family, but I wasn't in it. On the morning of the trip, I got up early and was in my room, checking my packing list. Then I heard something. I looked up and saw Emily standing by my dresser. She had my favorite blue swimsuit in one hand and a pair of scissors in the other. She was slowly cutting through the fabric with a small smile on her face. I just stood there, frozen. I knew she didn't like me. She made that obvious over the past 3 years. But this was something else. This was just plain mean. I jumped forward, trying to grab the scissors from Emily's hand. "Give those to me," I shouted. Emily pulled back quickly, and suddenly we were fighting over the scissors. Even though she was smaller than me, she was pretty strong. As we struggled, she started screaming loudly, "Help! Betty is attacking me." I heard loud footsteps rushing up the stairs. A moment later, Mom and Eric ran into my room. We were both red in the face and out of breath. My swimsuit, now ruined, was lying on the floor between us. "She tried to hurt me." Emily cried and ran straight into her dad's arms. I was just standing here, and she went crazy. "That's not true," I said quickly. "She was cutting up my swimsuit. I was trying to stop her." Mom didn't even take a good look at the swimsuit on the floor. She looked at me like I had done something terrible. "What is wrong with you, Betty?" she said sharply. "Are you really that jealous of Emily that you'd attack her? Go to your room and stay there until it's time to leave for the airport. Clearly, you can't be trusted around her." They all left the room. I stayed where I was, heart pounding. Through the door, I could hear Mom trying to comfort Emily. "Don't worry, sweetie," she said gently. "We'll go to the mall and get you some new clothes to help you feel better after what happened." I sat on my bed, staring at the torn pieces of my favorite swimsuit. They were going shopping. No one even asked if I needed a new swimsuit for the trip. No one cared that I was telling the truth. That evening, we all met in the hallway with our suitcases. Mom checked her list one more time while Eric packed the bags into the taxi outside. Mom gave me a cold look and said, "I still don't think you deserve this trip after what you did to Emily. But we can't leave you home alone for a whole month, so you're coming. Just try not to cause more trouble." At the airport, everything felt loud and stressful. We walked to the check-in counter, and Mom handed over all our papers. My stomach felt weird, maybe because of how early it was, or because I was nervous, or maybe something else I couldn't explain. "Mom," I said quietly, shifting uncomfortably, "I need to use the bathroom." She didn't even look up as she dug through her huge purse. "Fine, but don't take too long. We can't miss our flight because of you." "Should I bring my bag?" I asked, pointing to my small carry-on. Just leave it, she snapped. I'm not letting you walk off with our money and documents. I nodded and started walking toward the bathroom signs, trying to find my way through the crowd. It took longer than I thought. The signs were confusing, and I had to turn around twice before I finally found the right place. After using the restroom and washing my hands, about 15 minutes had passed. But when I got back to the check-in area, my family was gone. At first, I thought maybe I had come to the wrong counter. Mom, I called out, my voice getting shaky. Eric. People looked at me, but none of them were my family. I started running, my shoes hitting the shiny airport floor as I searched all around. Maybe they had already gone through security, but how was I supposed to follow them? Mom had all my documents in her purse. My heart was beating so hard I could hear it in my ears. I didn't have my phone, it was in my bag. I had no money. Mom had it all. I didn't have my ID or a boarding pass. I had nothing. I ran back to the check-in area. Then I went back to the bathrooms. Then I rushed through the food court, hoping to see a familiar face. Time started to feel weird. Everything was moving so fast, but also too slow. My panic got worse by the minute. People kept walking past me, smiling, pulling their suitcases, saying goodbye to family. Their lives were normal. Mine was falling apart. After what felt like hours but was probably just one, I couldn't run anymore. I stood in the middle of the terminal, surrounded by strangers, and burst into tears. Not little quiet ones, but loud, shaking sobs that came from deep inside. Are you all right, sweetheart? A kind voice said gently. I looked up and saw a woman in an airport uniform. Her face looked worried. Where are your parents? She asked softly. I tried to speak, but my words came out between gasps and tears. They left. I just went to the bathroom, they had all my stuff. Her face changed as she started to understand what had happened. She put her arm around me and led me through a door that said airport staff only. Before I knew it, I was sitting in a small office. People in security uniforms were asking questions and making phone calls. They looked serious. One of them was watching security camera footage, and the more they watched, the more serious they looked. Another person was taking notes, writing down everything in a police report. It's confirmed, I heard one officer say quietly to another. They checked in, waited until she left, then went straight to the gate and boarded the flight. They've already taken off. Then one of the officers turned to me, speaking more kindly now. Is there anyone we can call for you? Any adult, like a grandparent or a relative, who can come get you? I wiped my eyes with the tissue they gave me. My dad, I said quietly. I haven't seen him in 3 years, but I know his name and where he used to work. The staff wrote down what I told them, and I heard them making phone calls in the next room. I sat there, wrapped in a soft airport blanket they gave me, trying not to think about the plane. By now, it was probably flying high over the ocean, carrying my mom and her real family far away from me. Betty. I looked up when I heard the familiar voice, and I suddenly couldn't breathe. My dad was standing in the doorway. He looked just like I remembered, but also a little different. His hair had more gray in it, and he looked a bit tired. But his eyes, they were exactly the same. The same eyes that used to check under my bed for monsters and shine with joy when I showed him my science fair projects. Dad, I whispered, my voice breaking. Then I was running to him, and he caught me in his arms, just like when I was 8. We were both crying. I'm so sorry, sweetheart, he kept saying over and over. I'm so sorry. The car ride to his home felt like a dream. I sat in the front seat, quietly stealing glances at him, scared he might disappear if I looked away. He lived in a different part of the city now, in a big apartment building I'd never seen before. There's someone I want you to meet, he said as we rode the elevator up to the 8th floor. My fiancée, Kimberly. She's been my support through all of this. Kimberly was a kind-looking woman with curly red hair. As soon as she saw me, she hugged me tightly like she'd known me forever. You poor thing, she said gently, leading me to the kitchen. You must be starving. I'm making you a proper meal right now, no arguments. While Kimberly started cooking, Dad and I sat at the kitchen table. The smell of coffee filled the room. It was the same kind he always drank, black with a little sugar. Betty, he said at last, holding his coffee mug tightly, I think it's time you knew the truth about what really happened 3 years ago. He took a deep breath. That day, I came home early from work. I wasn't supposed to be there, but one of my meetings got canceled. His voice was calm, but I noticed his hands shaking just a little. When I walked into the living room, I found your mom with Eric. They weren't just talking. My stomach turned as I realized what he meant. When I confronted them, Eric tried to act tough. We ended up fighting. I'm not proud of it. Your mom tried to get between us, Dad continued. One of us, I'm still not sure who, accidentally pushed her while we were struggling. She fell and hit the coffee table really hard. His voice started to shake. There was blood on her face where she hit it, and her hands were all scraped up. I tried to help her, but before I could, she looked straight at me and said that if I didn't do exactly what she wanted, she'd go to the police. She said she'd tell them I hurt her, that she had bruises to prove it. She said I'd be sent to jail and never get to see you again. He looked at me with pain in his eyes. She gave me her deal, the divorce, the house, money every month, and I had to stay away from you. Completely away. She said if I tried to contact you or tell you the truth, she'd go through with her threat. The next morning, I was sitting at the kitchen counter, slowly picking at my breakfast. Kimberly sat down beside me with a serious look on her face. Betty, she said, stirring her coffee, my brother Jack is a family lawyer. He's really good, and I think he can help us with what you're going through. Dad looked up from his newspaper. There was a small spark of hope in his eyes. You think he'll take the case? Are you kidding? Kimberly said, pulling out her phone. When I told him what happened at the airport, he was ready to come over right away. He's just waiting for us to say yes. Everything happened fast after that. Jack showed up not long after. He was tall, with the same red hair and kind eyes as Kimberly, but there was a strong, serious look beneath his calm face. He sat down with us at the dining table and listened carefully while I told him everything that had happened. He took notes and made some calls right there. His voice changed, confident and professional, just like Kimberly said it would when he was in lawyer mode. Within a few hours, he had already sent papers to Child Protective Services and the people in charge of guardianship cases. They took it seriously. Leaving your child at an airport gets people's attention quickly. A couple of days later, Dad said he wanted to take me to see someone special. There's someone who's been missing you like crazy, he said as we drove through familiar streets. Someone who never stopped asking about you. When we pulled up to Grandma Margaret's house, my heart almost stopped. It looked just the same, yellow paint, flower boxes in the windows, and the old porch swing where we used to sit and drink lemonade. Before we could even reach the front door, it flew open. Betty, Grandma cried, and before I knew it, she had me in one of her big warm hugs, the kind that smelled like cinnamon and fresh laundry. Oh, my sweet girl, let me look at you, she said, holding my face gently. We spent the whole afternoon going through old photo albums, eating her famous chocolate chip cookies, and talking about everything we had missed. She even showed me the birthday cards she had written for me, but couldn't send. She kept them safe in a drawer, along with newspaper clippings from my school's honor roll list. Days turned into weeks, and before I knew it, a whole month had passed. Meanwhile, Mom and her perfect, new family were still in Europe, enjoying their vacation. I saw it all on social media. Every day, new pictures showed up. Emily posing by the Eiffel Tower, Larry at the Colosseum, and Mom and Eric having romantic dinners in Rome.
Not one of them reached out to me.
Not one message to ask if I was okay, where I was staying, or if I needed anything. Mom had my phone, my laptop, all of my clothes, everything I owned, except the outfit I was wearing that day at the airport. But she didn't seem to care. I logged into my social media accounts from Dad's computer. I could see they were online all the time, posting photos, liking posts, commenting on their friends' pictures. They could clearly see I was online too. The little green dot next to my name showed that. But still, not even one message. Not even a simple, hope you're okay. Then Dad had an idea. He said I should be there waiting when they got back. So, I sat in Mom's living room, my heart racing as I heard a taxi pull up outside. Dad was hidden in her home office, waiting for the right moment. We could hear their voices through the door, laughing and chatting about their amazing trip. Then the key turned in the lock, and they all came in, carrying shopping bags and suitcases. They stopped in their tracks when they saw me sitting there. Well, well, Mom said, quickly faking a smile. Look who found her way home. Eric laughed and dropped the bags near the stairs.
See?
We told you she'd be fine. That's when Dad stepped out of the office. The look on Mom's face changed in an instant. Her smile disappeared, and her eyes filled with shock, then anger. What the hell are you doing in my house? She yelled, backing up and holding on to Eric. Get out. Right now. But Dad stood strong. His voice was calm but firm. I'm here to tell you how things are going to be, Ashley. I'm taking Betty with me, for good this time. I've already filed for full custody, and I'm also asking the court to end your parental rights. He held up some papers. It's already been filed. Mom's face went pale, then turned bright red. You can't do that, she shouted. I can, and I already have, Dad said, his voice getting sharper. And that's not all. You're also facing criminal charges for child endangerment. Leaving a child alone at an airport is serious. You could both go to jail for that. He looked straight at Eric. You. Mom's voice was shaking with anger. You think anyone will believe you after what you did to me? I still have pictures of my injuries. I'll tell everyone you beat me. Dad gave a small smile, but it wasn't a happy one. Go ahead, he said calmly. My lawyer is ready for that old story. But here's the truth, Ashley. You never went to the police when it happened. And now, after leaving Betty alone at the airport, no one is going to believe you. He pointed at her. Everything is on video. Every moment. Walking away from her, boarding the plane, and enjoying your fancy vacation in Europe, while our 16-year-old daughter was left with no phone, no money, no ID. What kind of mother does that? We. Mom looked at Eric, who looked like he wanted to disappear. No judge is going to believe your lies now, Dad said firmly. Not after what you did. Not with the police report, the airport security footage, and your social media posts showing you having the time of your life, without even checking if your daughter was okay. You showed your true self, Ashley. And now you'll have to face the consequences. The trial moved quickly, faster than anyone expected. Jack, Dad's lawyer, said it was because the proof was so strong. The videos from the airport, the report from the police, the social media posts showing them traveling all over Europe while I was left behind, it was all too much to ignore. The judge didn't need much time. She made her decision fast. Mom lost all parental rights. Dad didn't have to pay her any more money. He got full custody of me, which honestly just made it official. I was never going back to that house. Mom and Eric were both given a year of probation and had to pay a fine. The number was so big it made Eric's face turn white. I didn't feel happy watching them sit there, uncomfortable and quiet. I didn't feel angry either. I just felt nothing. It was like watching the ending of a movie about someone else's life. That was 7 months ago. Now, I'm sitting in my new room at Dad and Kimberly's apartment, trying to choose which earrings to wear for their wedding next month. Kimberly asked me to be her bridesmaid, and the dress we picked is hanging on my closet door. It's pale blue, just like the summer sky. I don't know what happened to Mom and her real family after the trial. They moved away somewhere. And honestly, I don't really care. I heard about them from Aunt Carol. Surprisingly, most of Mom's relatives took our side after they found out what really happened. Being related doesn't excuse what she did to you, Aunt Carol said firmly. Now, Grandma Margaret comes over every Thursday for dinner. She always brings her famous chocolate chip cookies and funny stories about Dad's childhood. Dad always groans when she tells them, but they make me laugh. Sometimes we look through old photo albums together, but now we're also making new memories. We've started filling new albums with pictures of happy times. After everything calmed down, I transferred to Green Upstate High. There was no way I was going to keep going to school with Larry and Emily. Honestly, it turned out to be the best choice I could have made. My new friends, especially Rebecca and Amy, are true friends. The kind I never had before. They don't know every detail about why I changed schools, but they know enough to understand why I sometimes go quiet when people talk about their moms. Every now and then, I still think about Mom, Eric, Larry, and Emily. But it feels more like remembering characters from an old book I read a long time ago. There's distance now. It doesn't feel real anymore. I blocked all of them on social media. Not because I'm angry, but because I just don't need to see their lives anymore. I'm done being the invisible person in their perfect family pictures. Dad says I'm stronger than he ever was at my age. Maybe that's true. But I think I'm just lucky. Lucky to have him. Lucky to have Kimberly. Lucky to have Grandma Margaret. And lucky to have people in my life who've shown me what real family looks like. Real family stands by you. They fight for you. And they make sure you always know that you're loved.